The role of a referee in MMA and other fighting sports is very important. A referee takes decision to stop or continue the fights. A referees can take the points off or even disqualify the fighter. I can even say that exactly the referee is able to affect on the fight outcome and health of the people. But sometimes, referees are under attack themselves and they must use their power and hands to stop the mad fighters which become crazy due to different circumstances. In this video, we are going to speak about the cases when referees were involved into the fights. Conor McGregor. And let me start it with Conor McGregor. The famous Irish fighter visited a Bellator event in Dublin in 2017 to support his comrade Charlie Ward. Such kind of support gave Ward a huge motivation and mighty powers because he could finish his opponent in the end of the first round by knockout. And before Goddard could officially stop the fight and confirm the knockout, and McGregor jumped the cage and tackled Ward to celebrate. Because McGregor was not a licensed corner person and was interfering, Goddard pushed him away to maintain control, telling him to leave. If you did not know, it is prohibited to enter the cage if you are not a part of the fighter's team. McGregor, acting as a fourth corner man, refused to leave, following Goddard, screaming at him and shoving him in the chest. After that, McGregor left the octagon, but continuing shouting and threatening Goddard. Later, the Irishman apologized to all presented people, but except for Mark Goddard. Conor blamed referee in bad judging and strange decisions. Goddard himself responded that he is not afraid of threats of Irishman, but he is not going to go to court or police to punish Conor McGregor. It is obviously that Mark Goddard had not monitored any McGregor's fights afterwards. Paul Daley and Dan Miragliotta. There are some cases in MMA history when referees should physically intervene and cool the crazy fighters down. In May 2020, the matchmakers organized the contender fight in welterweight between Paul Daley and Josh Koscheck. The winner could face with George St. Pierre, who was the champ for that moment. Both Koscheck and Daley were very generous with trash talk and had a really tight pre-fight period. Probably therefore that fight became something personal for both fighters. Daley promised to eliminate Koscheck before the bout, but he faced with relentless wrestling skills of the opponent. Josh won all 3 rounds in dominant position. Paul Daley became madder and madder from round to round due to his forceless. After the final bell of round 3, Daley walked over and punched Koscheck in the face. Referee Dan Miragliotta immediately pinned Daley against the cage to prevent further conflict. Dan Miragliotta talked to Daley a few minutes trying to calm him down. Josh Koscheck was announced as the winner by unanimous decision, and Paul Daley got the most strict punishment. After the fight, Dana White declared that UFC permanently banned Paul Semtex Daley after he landed a sucker punch on Josh Koscheck after the bell. That fight was the last for Daley in UFC. Nathis Frederick. Sometimes referees must take things into their own hands when the situation is out of control. It was happened in 2014 in England during the event of Fight UK MMA promotion. Not famous promotion, not famous fighters. Maybe that's why both fighters decided to make a big show and perform incredible cruel contests since first seconds. Frederick sent his opponent to canvas 40 seconds before the first round. It was deep knockout. According to fighters' ethics, it is not recommended to continue the opponent when he is switched off already, to avoid potential harm of the health. When Frederick had already knocked Oswald out and pounced on Oswald to continue wailing on him after the fight was already clearly won, the referee jumped on Frederick's back, ripped him off of Oswald, and put him in an inescapable and rather impressive hold. After Frederick had a second to cool off, the ref let him go and tended to Oswald. The skills of referees saved the brain of Oswald that evening, and Frederick left Octagon as the winner without any penalties despite breaking the rules. Wilhelm Ott. Now I'll show you controversial situation to previous one. It was happened in Germany during the local Agrelin promotion event. Ott was fighting against Nihad Nasufovic. In the second round, Nihad took the back and secured a rear naked choke. Wilhelm Ott tapped out immediately, signaling his submission and therefore the end of the bout. In such an instance, the referee is obliged to stop the fight. However, in this case, the adjudicator simply watched the fight instead of breaking the two fighters apart. Nasufovic felt the tapping and eventually released the hold, after which a visibly agitated Ott charged at the referee and threw a barrage of shots at him, who covered up to defend himself on the cage. The fury condition of Ott is understandable, but as per rules, it is forbidden to attack referees. Later, Wilhelm apologized to referee, but it did not save him from defeat. Roy Nelson. The late referee stoppage had happened even in UFC, and even the mastodons among referees can make mistakes. It was a contest in Brazil between Big Fat Silva and Roy Nelson at UFC Fight Night 95 in 2016. American told later that they are good friends with Silva. In the end of the second round, Nelson landed an uppercut that floored Silva. McCarthy did not rush to stop the bout. Roy continued follow-up shots on the ground. After that, McCarthy interfered and stopped the fight. However, Nelson was angry with referee. He did not like the fact that he continued to beat Silva on the canvas. American was so angry that he kicked McCarthy in the buttocks. Such kind of behavior led Nelson to 9 months disqualification and $24,000 penalty. But later, Roy called down and apologized to Big John, and even posted a photo where McCarthy kicked him back as the joke. If you watched it till the end, then please subscribe, support the channel, and see you soon.